Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and thank you for being here today. I wanted to do something a little bit different and set it up a little bit different and say hi to you all and see how everyone is doing. I have been doing a lot better. I was sick for a couple of weeks and so I'm now starting to feel alive again, so that's good. Just a regular cold and overall shitty feeling, nothing serious, but kind of had me down for a couple of days. But anyway, I just wanted to say hi. And again, if you are new to my channel, if you are interested in tarot cards, tarot readings, true crime cases, unsolved crime cases, and the occasional tarot video, not tarot video, candle video, please consider subscribing. I really do appreciate it. For you guys who come back every week, I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. Today's case is a little bit kind of on the same theme that I've been doing the past couple of weeks. As you guys know, if you've been following me, I have a couple of videos on the Delphi case up, and that is a very horrifying case, unsolved case in Indiana. I'm actually from Indiana. I live about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours from Delphi, Indiana. Never been there though. And so upon kind of looking into that case, there are some other cases that are, in that surrounding area that doesn't necessarily get as much of attention as the Delphi case. And so last week's video was on, I think it was Karina McClurklin, who just turned 18 from that area, Carroll County, and really, really sad case. That case, for whatever reason, I mean, I have my suspicions as to why, but that case doesn't get a whole lot of coverage, if any coverage at all. There's not a lot of videos on it, and so I did want to cover that case, and we'll be covering that case from here on out on a regular basis. I'll be pulling cards to see, because it's still an unsolved case. I believe it happened in 2016 or 17, if I'm not mistaken, and so we're going on the 4 or 5 year mark of this being an unsolved case. This young woman would have been 22 or 23 now. Really sad situation. So while looking into these cases from the Delphi area and the surrounding areas and Carroll County as a whole, there's the Karina McClurkin case, as well as the Flora fires that happened in Flora, Indiana, which is about, I think, maybe give or take, but about a half an hour away from Delphi. This is another case where there's not a whole lot of information on it, not a whole lot of videos done on it. Just the basic information is going to be found out there. But what's concerning me is one of the common denominators with all of these cases in this local area. I'm beginning to pick up corruption in the, police departments, the politicians in that area, the local law enforcement. There's just this, I don't know. I honestly, when I first did the Delphi video or the Delphi videos, I've always said in my videos that I felt like the police department was doing their job and they were working hard. And I've just always consistently said that, and that's what I truly believed. But now, hearing Doug Carter talk on the Flora fires, his verbiage that he used was very, very similar, if not the same verbiage that he used in the Flora fires. And so when I first heard Doug Carter, because I've always liked Doug Carter, and if you're not familiar with Doug Carter, he is the Indiana State Police Superintendent. One of the front faces in the Delphi case, always doing the press conferences and whatnot. He always has come across to me as genuine and sincere, compassionate, and truly, truly wanting to get to the bottom of these cases. And so I've never questioned him or anything that he has said. In fact, if anything, I liked him. I liked his, energy that he put out. But when I seen him speaking on the Flora case, like I said, the verbiage was so similar. There were almost statements that were verbatim as to what he had said in the Delphi press conferences, and that bothered me, because then I started to think, okay, is this truly genuine words, or is this just a facade to put out for the public? He's got a couple of cases now under his belt that they don't have solved, and they're big cases. They're not small cases. And then again, if we go back to last week's video on Karina McClurkin, I was very, disgusted with how the local law enforcement, Carroll County, treated the family of this young woman. Very nasty, very inappropriate, very unprofessional. And I'm looking at the fact that Delphi, there's nothing going on with Delphi, no information on Karina McClurkin. And here we are on the Flora fires. This happened in 2016, so, we're looking at 4 or 5 years on that as well. And there's no information on that either. And, that's starting to make me wonder if there's something else going on. Is the corruption in this local law enforcement in Carroll County, is it hindering their ability to solve cases or to do proper investigations? So looking into this case, there's a lot of contradictions. We don't really know much. When this fire first happened, I believe Mom and the four girls involved, we have, I have it written down here, ages 5 through 11, we have, where did it go? Kiani, Cariel, Kiara, and Kiana, and their mom were in this home in Flora, which, like I said, is a small town, very small town. I think population is about 2,000 people, so very, very small town. About a half an hour away from Delphi. It's in the middle of the night, I assume, and the house catches fire. The mom manages to get out. The girls do not. One of the things that concerns me with this case is that this woman's house was about 2 blocks from the local fire department. However, a police officer from Delphi managed to arrive at the scene before the local fire department did. So again, like I said, keep in mind, Delphi is not very close. I mean, it's close, but it's not that close. It's about a half an hour drive. So how on earth did this police, officer arrive from Delphi before the local fire department, who's like 2 blocks away? I mean, I just, and it's like, I don't know if they have records of anyone calling the fire department or what time those calls came in, or, how long did it take them to leave after receiving a phone call or being notified about this fire. I don't know. I don't have any of that information, but that is one thing that bothers me in this case, is that the local fire department, who was about a block and a half away from this woman's house, why did it take them so long to get to the scene? I believe that once the Delphi police officer arrived, he managed, I think, don't quote me on any of this because I don't know all the detailed facts on this, but I believe the girls were removed from the home, but it was too late at that point. They could not save them. So for today's reading, I don't really feel comfortable reading on young children. It's just, I tried to do a video last month on Asia Degree, who was a young girl who went missing in South Carolina. I had to not do the video because I just was having a very difficult time reading on a young child, and so I couldn't do the video. This one I really, really want to do because I want to shed some light on it, and there's some questions that I want to, find the answers to if possible, but I'm not going to so much focus on the girls as I am the fire itself. So that's why I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit different. What I want to know is, was this fire intentional or was it an accidental situation? Because we have a lot of contradictions. And we have a lot of also resignations from higher ups that are involved in this case, and so that is also another red flag. So I do want to go through the timeline of events for this case, and that'll kind of give us an idea of what's going on. And also it covers, this particular timeline covers the resignations as well, and who those resignations are from. So November 21st, 2016, Kiani, Cariel, Kiara, and Kiana are killed in the fire. A day later, the fire is ruled undetermined. January 28th, 2017, so this is quite a bit later, the state fire marshal says the fire was intentionally set. May 25th, 2017, the fire is ruled intentional by Homeland Security and a new ISP, which is the Indiana State Police, detective takes over the case. June 13, 2017, the Carroll County prosecutor asks investigators not to release information. So I don't know why. I mean, we know that Doug Carter is really, really keen on saying, let's keep it close to the vest. So, that's one of their go-to mottos, I guess, is keep it close to the vest, although that isn't necessarily working in the Delphi case anymore. So I don't know why, but they want everything to remain quiet. June 26, 2017, a fire investigator with the Indiana State Fire Marshal's office resigns after questions about investigation arise. So we've got our first resignation. August 26, 2017, a new reward poster is released. November 11th, 2017, Carroll County Prosecutor Rob Ives announces he's stepping down. Second resignation. January 1st, 2018, new prosecutor Nicholas McLeland takes the post. January 8th, 2018, Todd Trent is named the new fire chief in Flora. So, let me see, what else is here that we could... Hired by the mom. Okay, it sounds like the mom did hire her own private investigator, which makes me feel like this is truly a woman who is distraught and trying to find answers. It does say here a man named Mike Vergen is one of the people who has been inside the house since the fire. He runs his own fire investigation company, and he was hired by the mom of the 4 girls and her attorney. He has not worked with them for months, but said he still thinks about the house and the case often. Vergen spent more than 15 years as a certified fire investigator with the ATF before starting his own company. He has been to more than 1,000 fire scenes and investigated this one just weeks after it happened. There are still things he does not want to share. Here is an exchange from an interview with Vergen and I-Team 8 Stephanie Zeppelin. So, let me just read the back and forth for a second so we can, because this is the first time I'm reading this too and I'm curious. So Vergen, where I thought the fire started is where it started. Zeppelin, and that is where. Vergen, I can't really say right now because, and I'll tell you why, if we get to a point in the investigation that they make an arrest, the only people that should know where the fire started is the person who set it and the investigators. Vergen told Team 8 he believes the fire was arson, but that the goal was not to kill the children. He is also not sure whether everything possible is being done to solve this case. I don't think, and this is Vergen, I don't think it'd hurt to call all the agencies in, said Vergen. It never hurts to have a fresh set of eyes, look at something, and share all the information, not just some of the information. The case has already been reviewed by Indiana State Police, the State Fire Marshal, and Indianapolis Fire Department. However, Vergen thinks more fresh eyes will be needed for the case to be solved. So he also says working smoke alarms may be the only thing that could have saved the girls. The girl's mother, has filed a federal wrongful death lawsuit against their landlord, claiming there were no working smoke detectors. I-Team 8 reached out to the mother for an interview, but she declined based on the advice of her attorney. So that answers the question about the smoke alarms. I wasn't sure, so apparently they weren't working. They weren't up to standards. And it sounds like the mother hired her own private investigator, and it sounds like he's indicating that it could be arson, but maybe the girls weren't the target. So interesting, because that's the first time I've come across that one. I just wanted to save that article for the timeline. So like I said, and I'll keep this short because I'm already 14 minutes in, but I want to focus on whether or not this fire was intentionally set or was it an accident, and see if we can figure out what's going on. But I fear that these cases, and I'm not just talking about Flora, I'm talking about several cases in the Carroll County area, I fear that they're not receiving proper care because there's so much other shit going on in the local law enforcement. There's so much corruption going on. They've got their own stuff going on, and I don't feel that they can properly do their job at this point anymore. And I'm starting to lose a little bit of faith in Doug Carter, because, like I said, the verbiage that he uses in his press conferences seems to be the general verbiage across the board, and that loses its sincerity to me, if that makes sense. So I don't know, and I don't really get any, I don't get any red flag vibes from the mother. I have watched an interview with the mother, and I believe that she lives in California now. She just didn't want to be in that area. Can't say as I blame her any. Didn't want to see that house, didn't want to be in that area, didn't want to, probably just wanted to restart her life as best as she could. And I don't really pick up any vibes from her that, shouldn't be there. But I do pick up vibes from the police department. And whether or not their corruption is something to do with this case specifically, or if it's just hindering their ability to solve this case, I think it's definitely one of the two. So let's go ahead and get into the drawing. Again, we're going to focus on the actual fire, not the girls. I've got my Hoodoo Tarot, and I've got the Rider-Waite, and so I'm going to turn this off and flip it around and get it situated, and then we will start reading and see if we can find some answers to this and see what comes of it. I also want to do another reading soon on the local law enforcement in the Delphi, Carroll County area, because it just sounds like there's so much corruption and so much shit going on with them. I don't know. It's a concern. It's a concern because they've got four major cases that are yet to be solved. And why is that? I don't know. So, okay, I'll be back, guys. All right, so I'm back, guys. Really sad case. I just wanted to share too, I remember watching this interview of some of the neighbors, and I believe some of the neighbors came up with this idea to create a cookbook, and I think it was recipes that the girls liked to eat, and it just sounds like from listening to the neighbors that these girls were the absolute sweetest little girls, always smiling, playing in the front yard, very polite, very friendly, loved by the neighbors, and just a sad situation. And so I thought that I just wanted to share that there was a cookbook out there. I'm not quite sure where the funds went. I don't know if it went to a reward or if it went to the mom. I'm not really sure, but really nice that the neighbors wanted to do something like that. It just shows how well these girls were loved or looked at. So for the first question, I do kind of want it to be a yes or no question. And first question of the day is, of course, was this fire intentional or was it an accident? So let's see what we get. Intentional or accident? So, wow, interesting. Judgment. Honestly, I feel like I take this as it was intentional, and, I personally feel like the girls are at peace, and I said that I wasn't going to necessarily read on the girls per se, but the fact that this particular card comes up makes me have to say that. I think this is just that, that here's the angel, and I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is Archangel Gabriel, I think. And you've got the Red Cross, and, you've got these people being lifted up, and I would assume being entered into heaven and into the spirit world, and they have peaceful expressions on their face. It's not my favorite card in the deck, I'll be honest, but I do feel like this is a message that the girls are in a good place and have crossed over and are at peace, even if this case isn't solved, because I'm a big believer that people don't have to have cases solved in order to have peace on the other side. It doesn't mean that they don't want this situation dealt with on Earth, but I don't think it hinders them from crossing over and being at peace. That's just my personal opinion. But in this case, the fact that it is judgment and judgment is coming out means that, to me, there is some foul play. There is something going on that makes me feel like this could be intentional. But because of the particular card that came out, I do want to go ahead and draw another card just to make sure. So was this fire intentional or was it An accident. Intentional. Okay. Boom. Intentional. So on these two cards, yes or no questions, we pulled two major arcanas. Definitely, I feel like the girls, they're okay. I really do believe that. They're okay. They're fine. But this definitely, look, you could not pull a more pivotal card for this particular case than that Tower. We literally have fire. We have fire. We have people jumping out. We have smoke. We have, lightning, but fire. We literally have fire in this card. And so I do feel like this is definitely without a doubt, and I am saying this with my whole insides, without a doubt, this fire was set intentional. So I would have never have thought the Tower card would have come out. This is just unbelievable. I mean, look, there's literal fire in the windows. This is unbelievable that this particular card came out. It's showing people coming out of the windows. This is crazy. This is unbelievable. Wow. This is literally their house. I do believe that this is the house. It's showing the house and it's on fire. And I do believe that that is indicative of it saying that this was intentional. Very interesting two cards to start this reading with. Let me go ahead and add those back into the deck. I do want to draw a few cards and see with this deck and see what else we get as far as, because now I personally, without a doubt, know that this fire was set intentional. So let's see if we can get a why. Who would want to do this? Were the girls a target? Was the mom a target? Let's see if we can get any of those kinds of questions answered. And possibly, will this person ever, be caught? Will they be arrested? Will we ever find out any kind of information? And Lord knows, I'm beginning to doubt it, because we've got a corrupt police department that can't seem to get their own laundry dealt with, much less do anything else for the community. So I have my doubts on it, which is sad to say. So let's see what we can get. Okay, so biggest question, why? What is the motive here? What was the motive? And who was the target? Motive and target is what we want to know. Motive and target. Queen of Wands. To me, that's mom. And it makes me wonder, it makes me think back to the part where we read about the investigator, that the kids were not the target, and it makes me wonder if mom was. So, interesting. Okay, we've got a 9. Definite heartbreak. No shock that that's coming out. Let's pull this bottom one here. Let's pull the top one. All right, so I do feel like this here is mom. And that was going with the question that I asked as far as who was the target and the target and the motive. I think mom was the target, to be honest with you. And to be honest, with this Queen of Swords, I wonder if the person who is responsible for this is another woman. For some reason, is there another woman who wanted to hurt this mom? Because to me, the Queen of Swords is potentially the person who is responsible for this. And this is somebody that you don't want to mess with. These two are queens, of course. And so they're, older women. They're, kind of, achieved what, they're going to achieve, and but totally different personalities. This one here is more down to earth, more mellow, more of a creative soul. This one here is really smart, can be very cold, can be very intellectual, fast in the way she responds, but definitely not the type of person that you want to play with, because definitely somebody that you want on your side, not your enemy. And so I'm wondering if there was some friction between these two women. This makes me feel like this potentially could be, it could be a woman that's behind the fire. And that is nothing that I thought of before. I think sometimes we just are ingrained to think that a perpetrator is a certain type. And, we kind of have that in our mindset. And I definitely was, I'll admit that I was definitely thinking male. But this gives a whole new perspective on it, because I think that we're looking at possibly a woman, possibly two women. But this one here is a little bit younger than this one. So that's where I'm leaning on that one. Definitely, we've got a lot of heartbreak in this situation. That's obvious. Not a surprise that one's coming out. But when I look at the Three of Swords, to me it's a stabbing in the heart. Sometimes I think backstabbing. And the fact that that's coming out makes me wonder if it doesn't have something with these two women. Does she know them? Is this somebody that she would never suspect to do anything like that? Was it maybe not to get that far? Was it, not intended to kill anybody or take any lives of anyone? But to me, I feel like this has something. I think definitely there's heartbreak. We know that this woman lost 4 of her children. There's beyond heartbreak, there's devastation. But I feel like this one here is less for the children and more of a response or a reaction to if she knew who was behind the fire. And I feel like it's 2 women that she has in her life somewhere. An older one that's around her age. This one would be about the same age as her. And a younger one. So then we have the Nine of Wands. So to me, the Nine of Wands coming up in this case tells me that possibly these 2 people, there's been a pattern of a relationship or a pattern of behavior in this relationship, and it hasn't been a good one. I don't know who these 2 women are, but I do feel like it's 2 women, and I do feel like it's somebody that's involved with the mom or knows the mom. Whatever the relationship is, though, I feel like this has not been a very smooth relationship. There's a lot of problems and disagreements, and to me, those wands in the back, they suggest obstacles, disagreements, arguments, whatever, what have you, battles that she's had with these people. And it's been something that's ongoing that she's been dealing with for quite some time now. So I wonder if there's any females in her life where she just, and it could be family, it could be friends, but there's someone I feel like connected to her that has caused her grief in the past. Perhaps she's not thinking about them because she just would never, ever imagine in her wildest imagination that they would be capable of doing something this bad. But there are 2 people in her life that I feel like she has had issues with, and she's had issues with them for a while now, for a while. And that is potentially who they are. And I think it would be absolutely devastating to her if she found out who it was, or if she knew for a fact who it was. The Hermit, that's introspection. I think possibly that is something that everyone is doing right now, especially these 2. We're talking about 2016, it's been 5 years. So these 2 here have had a good 5 years to think about what they've done. I would like to know if they are ever going to get to the point to where they could come forward and admit to what they've done. But I do think that they think about it. And I do think that this nostalgic card here, this 6 of Cups, we've got kids, we've got little ones. And so I kind of feel like, the girls are obviously being thought of by the mother, but I wonder if these 2 here are also thinking about the girls. I agree with the detective. I don't feel like the girls were the target because of this card coming out at my question. I think the mom was the target. And I'm just wondering if these 2 here are just absolutely devastated themselves that they took the girls. I don't think it was meant that the girls were supposed to even be in the home. I would like to know if, I would be curious to know if the girls were supposed to be there that night. Was there supposed to be maybe a sleepover? Were they supposed to go someplace else? You know, we don't have any information like that. So I'm just wondering if maybe these girls weren't even supposed to be there that night, and you know, whoever is behind this maybe thought that the girls were gone for some reason, and then maybe took the opportunity to do it, and come to find out the girls weren't gone. I don't know if it's something like that, but these two cards to me indicate that these two women here, that I believe that the two women are involved in this, are really, I think, deeply bothered that they did this, that it turned out this way, and they think about it quite a bit. It bothers them. The Ace of Wands, you know, again, this is kind of like that burst of creativity, that idea of something. I don't know if, I kind of feel like this is actually the idea to do this to begin with. I really do. And I don't know what the motive would be besides, I don't know. I don't know what the motive would be. But I don't know if, let me ask another card for that one, because I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what the Ace of Wands is indicating. I feel like it's the idea to start the fire or to do whatever. I don't even know if it was a fire that was intended or if it was meant to be something else and it got out of hand and it turned into a fire. I don't know. Let's get some clarity on the Ace of Wands. So we've got the Ace of Wands, which is a burst of creativity and idea, something new, something beginning. And then we have the Tantrum card. So, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. I kind of feel like this is, I kind of feel like, honestly, this right here is this. Okay, definitely without a doubt. This here, whatever this is this here. And it's being presented to someone. And this someone does not want to have anything to do with it. So is this the fire? Is this the fire itself, and it's being presented to somebody as an idea and they don't want to have anything to do with it, but they do it anyways? Who is this person down here? Who does this represent? Does it represent one of these two women or someone else? I do feel like this here is the actual fire, the setting of the fire, the idea to do this, okay? But it's being presented to this person by someone else. We don't know who that someone else is. We just see the hand, right? So it's almost, to me, almost saying that whoever was behind it was approached by someone else and said, hey, this is what you're going to do. And they're like, no, I don't want to do that. But they ended up doing it, or somebody else did it. So I don't know if this person here is these two women or this woman here, but definitely this is the idea of the fire being presented to someone. And at first, this person doesn't want anything to do with it. So let's continue drawing. Let me move these out of the way. Let's continue drawing, and then I'm just going to draw a few more cards on the Rider-Waite, and then I want to get into the Hoodoo Tarot. Okay, so I do feel like there was there's some bickering going on, either with the people who are responsible for this amongst themselves, or some bickering between possibly the fire starters and the mother. So let me ask again, you know, can we get a motive on this? Can we get a motive on this? Draw a little more. Okay, that concerns me. All right, so honestly, I feel like this here, this, and this is mom. I really do. I feel like mom's coming out because mom left. And I kind of wonder if the people that are responsible for this fire, it's almost like the same. I can't even differentiate between mom and the people who started the fire because the energy is almost very, very similar. We know mom left. Mom lives in California, didn't want to be in the area. Can understand that. Can totally get that. But they're showing more than one person here. They're showing three, actually. There's the man, the woman, and a young child. So because this is more than one individual, I'm wondering if possibly the people who are responsible for this fire have also left the area. Just got the hell out of there. Things are not going well for either the mom or these people. I think it's almost one and the same. This here is definitely, I feel like either one of them, or neither one of them, I should say, is getting any kind of quality sleep. Definitely, lots of things on the mind. The mom, I think, is just obviously, devastated. I think even the people who started this fire are devastated and, not dealing with the situation. And over time, I think, because we're 5 years in, over time, it hasn't decreased any. I think it's still the same. It's just as haunting as it was the day it happened. I don't think it's getting better for the mom. I don't think it's getting better for these people. I think that there's bickering amongst themselves. But what concerns me here is this card here and this one here. So I will say that with the Seven of Cups, this is cloudy judgment. This is someone who does not see clearly, think clearly, and sometimes it can even indicate to me that a person is under the influence of something. So that's kind of what I use the Seven of Cups for. And so it kind of makes me wonder if someone involved in this case, and I don't know, but, is it possible that at this point, mom has gotten to the point to where she can't sleep? Is she possibly, taking something to help her sleep, or, to cope with this? Or is it something more on the lines of the person who is responsible and they are, self-medicating as well? But to me, this is kind of like a concern of, just, your head is in the clouds, literally. You're not focused, and you're not thinking rationally, and it's just cloudy judgment, completely. So I someone is not doing well. Of course, we wouldn't expect the mother to do well, but honestly, I don't think that the person who's responsible or the people responsible are doing well either. So the Hierophant. Okay, so the Hierophant is society. It doesn't necessarily have to indicate religion. It is religion, but it doesn't have to only be religion. It can be teachers, it can be guides, it can be institutions, rituals, rites of passage. It can be anything like that, but it can be society. And I feel like this is the actual people involved in this case that are working on the case. I do feel like it is the local law enforcement. I think it's the law enforcement, the town, the people in the town, these politicians. I think it's all these people. And to me, I'm looking at this, and never really before have I ever paid attention to these keys. I've seen the keys here, but I've never really paid attention to the keys. It's almost like I feel like they're saying that these people hold the keys to this case. But for some reason, it is not being solved. It's like they have the keys to this case. So it makes me feel like, do the local law enforcement people have the information to act on it, but for whatever reason, they don't know they have it, or they're not paying attention, or they don't care. They just, I don't know. I can't imagine if they had the opportunity to solve a case and close a case that they wouldn't take that opportunity, because they're like 0 for 0 at this point. So if you do have the keys to solve this case, why wouldn't you just solve it and move on and go to the next case? So I'm not quite sure. The only reason that would explain, or the only thing that could possibly explain that, is if perhaps they're covering for something else, and they're trying to keep something hidden, what would that be? And I don't know. So, but I do feel like this is society, or it could be potentially other people in the town that have the keys to solve this case. I feel like someone, to me, I'm drawn to the keys in this card today. This evening, I'm drawn to the keys. Sometimes when I pull tarot cards, if you look at a card, even if you've seen it 100 times before, if there's something that you tune in on that you've never quite tuned in on before, there's a reason for it, I believe. And so that particular thing is something that you're supposed to kind of focus on. And in this case tonight, I feel like it is the keys. And I feel like this here represents society, the people involved in the case, law enforcement, police department, fire marshals, whatever, what have you. I don't know, but I feel like somebody holds the key to this case. This case can be solved. I feel like it has the ability to be solved. Why it's not being solved, I don't know. I don't know if it's corruption or what, but let's go ahead and dig into the Hoodoo deck and see. All right, so all right. I kind of want to know if Mom suspects. Who could be responsible. I really don't think she does. I think she has no clue. I think she knows the people who are responsible, but in her wildest imagination could never expect them to be responsible. Doesn't even think about it. Wouldn't even be a possibility in her mind. And therefore she has not thought about these people as being involved. But I think she knows. I think she knows who it is, and I do think it's a woman. I think there's at least a woman, possibly two women involved in it. Wow. Look at that. Hierophant again. We've got the Hierophant. I wonder, and in the first time, I just literally pulled the Hierophant in the Rider-Waite deck, and I was focused on those keys, and I wasn't so much focused on the religious aspect. In fact, I even said it doesn't have to be religion. But now that the Hierophant has come out a second time, I'm now beginning to wonder if the mom was a member of a church in Flora or in the surrounding area. So if any of you guys are familiar with this case, or if anybody knows anything about this case, was the mom a member of any particular church? Because we now have the Hierophant coming out twice. And I still do look at the keys as an important part of that card, but now that it's coming out twice, I kind of am starting to actually wonder about an affiliation with church. So I'm curious to know if she was a member of any church, and why is that coming out? Why is the church coming out? So okay, so we have, wow, we've got the Hermit again, guys. So we've got the Hermit, and we've also got Judgment. So we're getting, let's stop here for a second, because we're getting a lot of second cards. We're getting a lot of second pulls on these cards. So we've got Judgment, the Hermit, the Hierophant, and the Eight of Wands, or in this case, the Eight of Sticks. So, okay, okay, yeah, this is really, I feel like people know. I feel like people know who is responsible, or have suspicions of who's responsible for this. And I wonder if it has... I'm curious to know if the mom has any affiliation with a church in that area. Definitely the fact that Judgment is coming out. To me, this is in this particular Judgment card, they're reading bones. Okay, so it's a form of divination, is what it is. So it's trying to seek information and find out things that just like how we're doing right with tarot cards or with runes or anything like that. It's a form of divination. So to me, it can indicate that there's a couple of things. Mom could have sought out something like this to figure out what happened, because I truly, truly don't think Mom has anything to do with it. However, I do think Mom knows who is involved, but she doesn't know. Okay, I think she knows these people, but would never suspect that they were responsible for this. But I think she is so desperate for answers that she has went and sought out answers to her questions to find out who did this and why. I think she has also tried to seek out answers as far as to figure out if her girls are okay, and I feel confident saying that they are. But it also makes me concerned if possibly other people in the area know or suspect something and they're not saying, because we've got some relation to church, we've got society, we've got possibly, if we had the justice card or something like that, I would really say that the police department or something like that. But I'm starting to feel like there could be some connection to church. Was the mom a member of a church? Do the women who are possibly responsible for this, are they a member of the same church? Something like that. And then we have Dr. Grant, which is number 9. That's the hermit again. I think that definitely it's not just bothering the mom. The mom is devastated beyond imagination, but I think that the people who are responsible for this are also just as devastated to what happened as maybe not so much the mom, but there is some definite introspection and reflection on what they've done and why they've done it. And so one would hope possibly they would maybe get to the point to where they could possibly come forward and admit to what they've done. I don't know. But there is a lot of talk, I think, with the 8 of Sticks, which is the 8 of Wands. I think there's a lot of talk in the town. I've never been to Flora. It's a very small town. I think I read online today that the population is around 2,000, so very small. I think the town talks about this. There's a lot of talk. But this is also, I feel like everyone's on... Usually when I look at the 8 of Wands, I feel like, it's always the 8 wands going in the same direction. So whenever I see the 8 of Wands, I feel like it's communication, but it's also communication where everyone's on the same page. Everyone's in agreement. Everyone's going in the same direction. So I kind of feel like, I almost kind of feel like this is, I'm not really sure, because I kind of feel like this is the law enforcement, and I feel like this is an agreement amongst them as to how to move forward with this case. And I don't necessarily know if it's the right direction. I don't know if they are, I don't know. Hold on a second, guys, because this one's throwing me for a loop here. Let me pull another one for the 8 of Sticks. What is this one? Strength. That's trust. That's trust. Trust and communication. So we've got trust, we've got communication, we've got thinking the same, agreeing, going in the same direction. Trust. Infinity. I'm sorry, guys. I had to hit my jewel. I know you can probably hear me hitting it in the background, but yeah, sorry. I'm human. To me, if anything, there's a lack of trust in this case. But I wonder if the trust is between, I think the mom knows the people who are responsible. And I'm sorry, you can't even see that. I think mom knows who's responsible, but she would never consider them as being responsible because it's somebody that she would trust. She just wouldn't think twice about it. But I also think this is coming out because there's obviously a lack of trust in this case. I don't think that the mom trusts the local law enforcement. I mean, she mustn't, right? She hired her own private investigator. So there's definitely a lack of trust between mom and local law enforcement. But I think as far as the local law enforcement, they're all sticking together. They're all sticking together. They are not wavering from their stance on it. They're going to stick together. I think they're going to continue to stick together. But I is the police or the local law enforcement, are they hiding information? Do they have information to where they could solve this case? Could they solve this case? So the Three of Coins, Three of Pentacles, that means they are working together. There's a lot of working together here. Look at this. You've got people working together as a team, as a unit. This is working together in the same direction, thinking the same, doing the same. There's trust, there's communication, this is teamwork. Either this is the local law enforcement or and this is why I was kind of getting thrown off. Either this is local law enforcement working on the case, or these are the people behind or responsible for what happened. So that's why I'm a little bit thrown off here, and I had to take a second because I don't know if this is law enforcement. I don't know if this is the people behind it. So there's definitely, whoever this group is, this group here that's working together, there's definitely some trust between them. They are all on the same page. They are working together. So let's ask really quick, is this law enforcement or is this the people that are responsible for this fire? Gullah Jack. So we've got the Hanged Man. Honestly, I feel like, God, this could be victim or police, really, honestly. I can't even really differentiate between the two. Honestly, I feel like these are, because this person is being hanged, and it kind of reminds me of, like back in the days when they would, hang people or something like that. It kind of makes me feel like it's the people involved in the case or responsible for the fire. So I do feel like these people, I think it's more than one, and I think that there's women involved in it as well. So now I'm starting to wonder if there's possibly a small group, if not maybe at least 3 people now that are working together, possibly even more, that are responsible or behind this fire. And they're not talking. There's some of them, I think the women, because I do think that there's women involved in this. There's women involved somehow. And one of the women involved is around the same age as the mom. I do think that it is bothering them very deeply. Okay, I think that it's something that they didn't want to do. I think that they were forced to be a part of it just by that 4 of Cups. So I think that they were kind of forced into it for some reason. But there are other people involved. They are all staying quiet. They're all working together. Okay, they're not talking. They're not speaking. They're not communicating. They're not cooperating. I don't think that they're talking about it amongst the town, because at one point I said I think the town knows. I wonder if the town suspects, but because no one's talking about it, I don't think that these are the people that are out bragging that they did this. There's nothing like that. If the town suspects, it's just suspicions based on their own thoughts. But these people that did this are not talking. They are not saying a word, which is why I think that they've managed to get away with it for so long, because we're going on 5 years now. At this point, I even have doubts that they're even in the area because of that 6 of Swords. I know that the mom left, but when I pulled that 6 of Swords, it kind of made me feel like whoever's responsible, or at least some of the people that are responsible, possibly have left as well. So, I don't know. Are all these people, or are the people responsible for this fire, are they still in Delphi? 6 of Coins. So, I don't know, but it's possible that they have come into some money. I'm not sure if they're still in the area, but it's possible that they've come into some money. So there is some money involved. Someone has benefited from this in some way, shape, or form. This is luck. You've got the 4-leaf clover, the coins, the dice, the $2 bill, the scratching of the palm. This is having a lucky windfall of money, or money being given to you somehow. So I do feel like whoever is responsible, someone has come into some money since the fire. Will this person ever get caught? Will this person or these people, will this case ever get solved? Will we ever have any information, any information on anything? So I think that there's potential. You've got the 8 of coins, so I think there's potential to have this case solved. It would require a lot of work and dedication and focus on it, and I don't know if we have anybody in authority that is willing or able to do that in that area. But yeah, this case to me could be solved. I mean, look at those flowers over here bloomed. That's positive. That's growth. That's happiness. That's, definitely this case could be solved. It has the potential. I don't think that it's a case where there's no evidence or, anything like that, where it couldn't be solved. It's not a cold case. There's evidence. There's keys. Someone has the keys. Remember, someone has the keys to this case. What is preventing the police to solve this case? What's preventing the police in solving this case? Daughter of Baskets. Okay, so the daughter is going to be in this deck. I believe that the daughter is the I think it's the knights. I would want to say the page, but I think it's the pages. Yeah, the pages, the boys, and the daughters are the knights. So this is the Knight of Cups. Why can't they solve this case and we get the Knight of Cups? So the Knight of Cups is kind of that, flirtatious kind of card, or, sometimes I kind of look at the Knight of Cups as almost like that show-offy type, that egotistical type of person, that romantic kind of guy, the guy that's always, looking to, find some young girl to go out with, but not really trying to settle down type of person. So that's what I look at the Knight of Cups by. He's always out on the prowl to, always wanting to go out on dates, but never wanting to settle down type of person. So I kind of look at this as their ego is just in the way, because I do kind of sometimes look at the Knight of Cups as ego issues, and a little bit of narcissism, a little bit. And so I kind of wonder if the local police or local law enforcement is simply too proud to ask for assistance. Is it possible that they would rather have these cases go unsolved and not have anybody else get involved? Or I don't know, but I feel like it's a little bit of ego and a little bit of narcissism on the side of the local law enforcement as to why this case isn't being solved. They just don't have all the information, and they're not willing to accept any kind of assistance from someone to help them get that information. They're not, like that investigator said, it just kind of reminded me of the investigator saying that fresh eyes need to take a look at this. I don't think there's anything wrong with some fresh eyes coming in and looking at it, because sometimes that's all it takes. And the fact that the Indiana State Police Department aren't willing to allow fresh eyes to come in and look at it, I think that is actually hindering this case. I think that's what it is. The fact that they're so close-minded to allowing any outsiders come in and help is hindering this case. And when you have a police department that is so close-minded like that and isn't willing to allow any assistance to come in from outside, that's really sad, because then at that point I don't feel like you're doing your job anymore. So let's see. Okay, so what about the people involved in this, responsible for the fire? Are they still in the area? Are they still in the Flora area? Are the people responsible still in the Flora area? Ace of Coins, a piece of the pie. I think that these people, whoever's responsible for it, have benefited financially somehow. There's some sort of financial benefit. I don't know whether it would be insurance or it would be a payoff, but there is some sort of exchange of money, of finances, because we've got that 6 of coins, we've got the 3 of coins, we've got now the ace of coins, and so there is this financial association with this case somehow. So I do think that this was almost, for some reason, I'm wondering if it was less to do with mom and the girls as it was something to do with a financial gain. So let me just ask specifically, was mom the target? Because I do feel like mom was the target based on that Queen of Wands. So, but now I'm starting to wonder if there was something else attached to that, and was that something else financial? So instead of asking about mom, let me just ask again, motive. What was the motive? What was the motive here? So, okay, that doesn't help any because we've got the devil. So, Miss Robinson, the devil. God, that could represent so many things in this case. That's why it's kind of throwing me. It could represent the police. It could represent the people who are responsible. There's something dark in this case now. Hold on a second. Honestly, I feel like when the devil comes up, there's definitely something to do with finances, money, because I do kind of... I'm wondering about the house. I wonder about the house, the renter. You know, did he make any money, or did they make any money on this? Was there insurance filed on the home? I know nothing has been done with the home since the fire took place. It's still boarded up, if I'm not mistaken, so nothing's been done. That doesn't mean that the owner didn't make some money off of this as far as insurance is concerned. Now I know that mom did file a lawsuit against the renter for not having up to standard working smoke alarms, but I'm curious to know if they've ever looked into possibly the landlord of this home. Because I do feel like with the devil coming out, yeah, that's a dark kind of, nasty individual with nasty intentions. But one thing I always feel like when the devil comes out is, you've got two things, addictions and money, and that falls under addiction as well. But money is definitely a big one. And so I feel like, honestly, even though mom, I feel, is a target, or mom was the target, but there's something going on here with money to be made. There's something going on with money to be made. We've had too much pentacles come up to make me not think that way. Someone made out with this. Someone has come out with a little bit of money that they didn't have before. So I wonder if the police department is looking into any kind of insurance claims, any kind of anything along the lines of that. So I think I'm going to draw one more or two more cards and just see what kind of outcome we can get, or some final thoughts on this case. Yeah, we've got money. We've got money again. Daughter of Sticks. So we've got the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands. Let's do one more. The Ace of Cups. I'm glad that the Ace of Cups is the last one that I'm pulling, because that to me is possible hope that this case is going to get solved. I don't think it's unreasonable that this case could be potentially solved. I think it's completely possible, and I think all the pieces of the puzzle there are there. I think someone has the keys to this case, the keys to breaking this case wide open. To me, it's just a matter of the local law enforcement, honestly, I don't think that they can do it. I don't think that they are capable of solving this case for whatever reason. I think that in order for this case to be solved, they have to literally take the action to allow someone else to come in and look at this case. I don't think it's something that they can handle themselves. And I don't know if it's because they are too preoccupied with their own damn corruption and shit that they've got going on in their own backyard that they can't focus. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're just not qualified. I don't know. But they can't do it themselves. They have to take action to allow someone else to come in and look at it. Just like the mom's investigator said, have some fresh eyes come in and look at this case, because it is not going to get solved under the Indiana State Police. It is not. Sorry. They're going to have to, someone else has to come in and look at it. But definitely there's a possibility that this case can be solved. I think that there's definite aspect of money involved. Someone has made off with some money. I don't think it's a grand amount of money, but someone has made off with some money. Someone has financially benefit. So possibly the police could look at who in that area has possibly benefited financially from this. Did anyone make purchases that were out of characteristic after this happened? Even if it was a year after, did somebody buy a new car? Did they buy a new house? I'd be interested to know in the landlord of the home. Did this person make any money financially? I don't think the mom is involved in any way whatsoever, just by the fact that she hired her own investigator. But I do think that mom does know the people who started this fire, but I don't think she suspects them. She knows them or is affiliated with them through possibly a church. Definitely, I do think that there is some sort of church or something involved in this, and it could be, just like I said, affiliation with people that she has possibly went to church with. But I think, honestly, I kind of feel like the motive had a lot to do, not all of it, but had a lot to do with money and the gaining of money. So anyway, that's my reading on the Flora fires, and I do believe that the girls are at peace and on the other side and have crossed over. I would like to have this case solved on this side. But like I said, I think there's just too much corruption in the local law enforcement for them to be able to concentrate on anything, to be honest with you. I don't think that they can solve anything because they just got too much shit going on amongst themselves that they can't focus on anything. I do want to do a reading on the Carroll County, Indiana State Police Department, Carroll County, local law enforcement area one of these days soon. Because there's just a lot of stuff going on there. A lot of things that happen in this case, like the resignations, are concerning. So why are all these people resigning? It just makes you kind of question them. And why is Doug Carter using the same verbiage in every single press conference that he says? It's the same thing. So once you start saying things like that, it kind of loses its validity and seriousness and sincerity. So I don't know, I question him now. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope everyone is staying well. Until next week, have a good one, guys. Bye.